Hey guys, so I'm going to make some nursing shirts out of these dollar store t-shirts. This one is a 2XL. I got a black one and a blue one, both in 2XL. You can use any t-shirts that you have at home, and preferably one that's a bit bigger than your normal size. I did pick up also this third shirt. It is just a large, and normally I'll wear a medium or large. Large is usually more comfortable because medium's too tight, but I did pick that up to see what to do with that. So here I am wearing the shirt. I want to wear it and mark where you want the bust line to be. So here I put a pin in and didn't end up liking where it was, so I took it out. Then I took this piece of soap, bar of soap. It is an internet hack for marking fabric if you don't have chalk or the like to mark your fabric. But I used it to mark my bust line, and then I put the pin in, and that made things a lot easier. So I put the pin there. It's about a finger lower than I want my actual bust line to be, to account for seam allowance. And I just put a pin in each side as well. So here's the shirt laying flat. I folded it in half to make sure it would be the same on both sides. From the collar to the middle pin was about 11 inches, and I marked that midline so I knew exactly where the middle was. And then I marked from the middle to the side with my soap, using my measuring tape as a guide to make a straight line. So here it is laying open. Then I marked from the middle to the collar to get my V-neck shape. Then I folded it in half again to cut it out. I separated the top from the bottom completely. Make sure to cut through all 4 layers of the shirt so that you get the top completely separate from the bottom, just like this. Here's the top separate from the bottom, and then I need to cut the V-neck. So I did the same with the blue shirt, and I'll show you how I cut the top. So I matched up the shoulder seams and folded it so the front was together and the back was together, if that makes sense. So I wasn't cutting through all 4 layers at once this time, only 2 layers. And then I cut up my line and then through the shoulder seams and cut the rest of the collar off the back. And that's how it looks cut apart. So here I tried it on. It's a little baggy on me because it is like 3 sizes larger than I usually wear. So I'm just trying on to see how it will go. Now here I've marked the center of the bottom piece of the shirt, both the front and the back, and the center back of the top piece of the shirt. And I'll match those up together later. Now I'm going to hem the top of the shirt. I'm using number 3, that's my stretch stitch. So I'm going to sew the hem of the collar. Now it's a rolled hem, and I'm kind of just rolling it as I go, just folding it twice over itself, not measuring any particular, just kind of eyeballing it. And I'm using my stretch stitch so it's kind of a zigzag, and it will work with the stretch of the fabric. This is where I ran out of bobbin thread, and so I had to kind of start over right there. Now the back of the collar, I wanted it to be straight, so I tried to match it up with the straight line of that little tag thing. And then I just continued to roll and sew. So I wanted to show you how I did the shoulder seam because that's a pretty thick part of the collar. Lots of fabric there. So I just went really slowly, just to the slowest speed I could without hand turning the wheel. I just pushed the bulk of the fabric through as the feed dogs pulled, and then when I couldn't push anymore, I went to the back and pulled to help it along. I just continued going slow until I was through the thick part of the fabric. And then I just continued to roll and sew at my normal speed. Now here's the end of the collar hem. Will be the bottom actually and the front. Here's what it turned out to look like. That's where I ran out of bobbin thread, so it looks a little funky, but that's okay, I don't care. Somehow I picked up all these loose threads. And that's how it looks with the zigzag stitch. I did use contrasting color. It's the same color as the bottom of the shirt, so I'm not worried about it. I didn't have a good blue that matched, but here I'm overlapping it. I'm overlapping it 4 inches, and then I'm going to baste along the bottom. With a basting stitch, you want to have the longest length you can. On my machine it's 5, and then no back stitching, you just sew a straight stitch. And I did it at 5/8 seam allowance. Again, when you're done, no back stitching. Just pull it off and leave a little bit of a long thread so it's easier to take the stitches out later. This is just to hold it together until you sew the bust seam. Now it comes pretty low, and I will want something under it to come up higher. Now here I have on the black top piece, and I'm trying to see how it will look if I use that extra fabric from the collar of the blue top. If it weren't a nursing shirt and I just wanted it to have a layered look, I probably would have used it. Just sewed it to the collar of the shirt in the front. But since it's a nursing shirt and I want to have that be able to open, I decided not to use this because the piece of fabric was not big enough. Now here I've marked the center, well, not the center, the exact side seams of the bottom of the shirt and the top. This, I matched it up with the bottom seam of the sleeve, so it's right in the center. And then with the top of the shirt, I basted from side to side. So I did a basting stitch, remember 5 stitch length or the longest your machine will go, and no back stitching, just straight through the front of the shirt, just the front of the bottom piece of the shirt. I did a basting stitch so that I could gather it, because since I took in the top of the shirt, the bottom of the shirt is too big. So I did 2 rows of gathers. Here's my baby.
Hi, baby. Yeah. You're happy mommy's talking to you, huh? Oh, yeah.
Here is my 2 rows of gathers, and you pull on the bottom thread to pucker it up and gather the pieces so that it takes up less space. I didn't have to gather it too much, because again I only took away about 4 inches at the top. And here I just matched up the pins on the sides and the middle back and put right sides together, of course, don't forget that. And then I evened out my gathers and pinned the middle of the front. Also off camera, I added a few more pins before I started to sew. Then I just sewed around the shirt to put the top and the bottom together. Now you remember to back stitch, and this you'll be back to your normal stitch length and everything. Just a regular straight stitch. And I did this at about 5/8 seam allowance. And after I did that, I tried it on. My baby's wondering what's going on. She wasn't very happy with me because I wasn't paying attention to her. Yeah. Now, here's the next day. I can't want it to be in the video, I guess. Anyway, I am trying on the shirt to take it in. The sides, it was really loose, so I started to take it in the side seams. So I've never done this before on myself or anyone for that matter, but I've seen lots of videos. So I tried to pin it to where I would like it to fit me and then go from there. So you can see it fits quite a bit better to have that much taken in. So I put about 3 pins in each side, and this is what it looks like. It's a little sloppy, so I'm doing it on myself, and it's hard to do that at my side. Then I took the shirt off, put it on the floor. It's pretty sloppy, uneven. The bust seam isn't matching up. It's uneven on each side. And so what I did was I took out the pins and laid the shirt flat, because now I just had an idea of how much I wanted to take it in, and then I put in new pins at the right curve and matching up the seams and everything. So here I matched up the bust seam front and back, and then made a gradual taper. And so I wanted to do it on both sides, so I folded it over just to where I could match them up, and I put the same pin, or the pins the same way on the other side, making sure to match up my seams so that it would match up after I sewed it together. Here I have my normal stitch length, normal sewing, everything. I decided to take in the sleeve a little bit as well, just to make it blend in better. And the sleeve had plenty of fabric for me, so I matched up the seams there, front and back, and then just started to sew at the sleeve, making sure to back stitch. So here's at the bust seam. I can feel underneath to make sure that it's still lined up, and just continue sewing, following the pins and taking them out as you go. Now at the end here, I want to decrease my stitch length. I decreased it by about 1 point. So instead of 2.5, it was 1.4. And then I just go slow, and I had to lift up my presser foot to take out that pin because it got under it too far. But I just made sure that my needle was down in the fabric so that I wouldn't lose my space, it wouldn't move around. Then I decreased the stitch length even more as I got closer to the edge of the fabric, and just go nice and slow. And back stitch at the end. And if you're not even really on the fabric, the back stitching will just kind of tie the thread in a knot for you. So now I'm much happier with how it fits me. As you can see in the next clip, I'm pretty happy. So you can easily pull it down to access for nursing. I'm still got to figure out what I'm going to do with the under layer. I will probably also put some elastic in the back of the collar because it pokes out there, as you can see. So I'll probably just put some elastic in it to help it fit better against my body. So thanks for watching. I hope that this video helps you to be able to make a nursing shirt for an affordable price. Nursing shirts can get so expensive, and this cost me $1 a shirt and some of my time. The thread and stuff I already had, that's all it took was some thread, a machine, and a couple of dollar store t-shirts. So in my next video, I will show you how I did the under part so that it will be able to lift up and it'll help you stay modest, and you can lift it up and pull the overlapped part of the shirt that I just made. You can pull it down and it will just work out great. So stay tuned for my next video.